I'm literally like getting anxiety just thinking about this whole entire story. Ugh.
Kiki, do you love me? Are you riding? Say you never ever leave from beside me, cause I want you.
Hey, what's up you guys, it's Gage, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, smash that subscribe button please, it would mean the world to me. So yesterday I took my G test and literally everything that could have went wrong. Of course, of course. Let me explain. Yesterday I had my G test, and here in Canada, your G test is your full license. So there's like 3 stages. There's your G1, G2, and then your full G. So it's easy as that. I was freaking out about this for the solid month and a half that I had it booked for. I'm just that person that does not do well under pressure. Well, I do well under pressure, but if I know something's coming and I have time to think about it, I feel as though I kind of get nervous about that. So anyways, yeah, my G test was out in Oshawa, Ontario yesterday, and we went out to Oshawa, me and Brittany was so nice to come with me. She kept me really calm, actually. I was freaking out, and there was just torrential downpour yesterday. I might be exaggerating a little, but it was raining pretty hard yesterday. So we're on the highway going about 100, like the speed limit. Like I can't see crap. And I'm like, wow, my test is gonna go great when we get there. We pull up and we get to the place after about maybe 45 minutes to an hour. I kid you not, the entire place was packed. And when you get there, there's individual spots, like parking spots with numbers on them where you're supposed to park in order to do your test. So I parked in one of those spots, reverse parked into one of those spots. And let me tell you, I am not good at reverse parking, but for some reason, when I pulled into this spot, it was perfect, and I was like, why was nobody looking? Like, somebody should have been testing me on that. It was absolutely amazing. Like, I did the best back-in park I've ever done in my life, like, ever. We go inside, me and Brittany, and I use the machine, and I get everything settled up or whatever, and my appointment wasn't until 9:20, and we got there at 9. I go outside, and I wait in the car. 9:10 comes around, and this woman comes out, and I'm like, wow, that was pretty fast for considering how busy they are. The first thing she says to me is, roll down your driver's window. And if anybody knows my car, my mom's car, it doesn't roll down. That window is just broken. When you roll that window down, it's just chaos. Like, it's just bad. I tell her the window's broken, and she's like, oh, okay, no big deal. So then she goes, right signal, left signal, brake lights, all that stuff. She just wanted to make sure everything was working, the car horn, everything. She says, whenever you're ready, just start driving. So I start driving, and everything's good. 3 minutes in, she's like, okay, turn onto this side street. So I turn onto the side street, and she's like, do an emergency roadside stop. So our heat doesn't exactly work. There's like 5 settings. There's like low, then the 4 in the middle, and then 5 is the high. So it only works on high. Had to turn that on high in order to defrost, like, not defrost, to defog the windows. It was helping, and then, like, it was quiet the entire time. And she goes, I'm dying, I need to turn this off. So she turns it off, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, oh my god, the windows are gonna start fogging. Ever so slightly, I roll down the back window, like, ever so slightly. So everything's good there. Do the emergency roadside stop. She says I'm good at it. So we pull off, and she's like, at the next street, turn left, and we're gonna pull over to the side, and you're gonna do a parallel park. So I start parallel parking, and she's going, you're gonna hit that car. And I'm like, in my head, no, I'm not, bitch, I know how to parallel park. And I know for a fact it was my nerves getting to me. I just know it was. I parallel park, and everything's looking good, and then she's like, okay, redo it, it's no big deal. And then I parallel park again, and I do everything perfect. She realized I was nervous too, so she was like, just calm down, do what you would normally do. And in my head, I'm like, I'm trying to, like, this isn't how I normally drive. At this point, I'm like, I probably failed already, like, just within the first, like, 10 seconds. Then she's like, oh, your back window's down, it's starting to get a little bit cold in here. And I'm like, bitch, make up your mind. Are you hot? Are you cold? Whatever. So I go to the, like, the 4 little notches on the door for, like, the windows. So I go to hit the back window. For some reason, I hit the front window. And the front window just starts going down, and it goes, like, it cracks. This window is busted. It's been busted for God knows how long, and it just doesn't go down. It's, like, off the motor thing or something. I don't know. Something's wrong with it. But it makes this horrible screeching, cracking noise. So there's, like, the top of the window, which, like, goes down. So, like, here, there should be, like, you can, like it's window. And then on the side, there's also window, like, you can get through it. So the window's kind of just dangling there, kind of shaking, and she goes, oh, just roll up your window. And I'm like, not how this car works. I'm like, I'm gonna need to, like, get out and, like, actually physically pull it up. And she goes, oh, go ahead, like, do that. And I'm like, no, like, I need 2 people to, like, physically pull the window up. She's like, okay, go ahead and do that. And I'm like, nope, not how this car works. Like, it's not happening. Like, it's just not gonna happen. She's like, okay, we're gonna be going on the highway, though. You're okay with that? And I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. Mistake number 1, or probably, like, mistake number 5 at this point. but that was a mistake on my part. So anyway, she goes, do a 3-point turn. So I start doing a 3-point turn. It wasn't in between curbs, it was in between somebody's driveway, and she said, use the driveway as a curb. I start doing the 3-point turn, and this guy starts backing out of his parking spot, and I'm like, as if anything else could not go wrong on this entire, like, experience for me, and I'm already freaking out. And then he starts backing up, and he can't decide what he's doing, and she's like, what is he doing? And she started getting, like, frustrated, and then I started, like, backing up. It was just a whole ordeal. And then she said, just go. And then she goes, okay, we're gonna be getting onto the highway. And for some reason, when we were merging onto the highway, I didn't, like, pick up speed for some reason, and I don't know why. Like, I normally always do, and I was probably at 80, but I should have been going 100, but for some reason I just wasn't. And she said that was probably my worst mistake there. And then the other thing was, you're supposed to lane change to the left lane, then back to the right on the highway. However, she didn't make me do that because she said there was too much traffic and it was first thing in the morning, so I was like, thank you, working out into my favor. So we get off the highway, then we pull back onto the highway, and you have to, like, go back on the highway again. So I got back onto the highway, and then she said that time was much better. In my head, I'm like, still already failed. Like, I don't know why I'm still doing this. I know for a fact it was my nerves getting to me, like, just everything in general. And before we got onto the highway the second time, this girl, the car was fogging so much, she literally took her arm and just wiped her window, and I was like, I'm failing. Like, that should have been a fail right there. Like, just in general, the car's fogging. But she turned the heat off. It was her fault, not mine. So I'm going with that. I'm freaking out the entire way back, and then she's like, hey, like, turn into the plaza, like, where we started and where the driving thing was, and it was just a whole ordeal. And in my head, I'm like, I already failed. She's like, just pull into a spot. So I pull into a spot, and she's like, I'm gonna pass you, and I know it was your nerves getting to you, and I knew she knew it was my nerves getting to me. She's like, but I know you're a good driver. Like, she could tell by, like, the lane changes that I was doing, everything was fine. And then literally, when she looked up, because we were on the highway and the window was, like, broken and there was rain hitting me, like, there was rain droplets all over my glasses, and I'm literally looking at her like this. Just like, I was dying. It started, like, raining more after she got out, and she's like, okay, go inside, they're gonna call your number and you need to, like, get your G. And I was like, okay. So I called Brittany, who was inside waiting for me, and I was like, hey, I need you to come outside. I rolled the window down by accident, which I never do. I don't know how it happened. I've never even, like, messed that window up for God knows how long. Like, over a year I've had to have touched that button, and for some reason, the one day that I needed to not touch that button, I touched that button. So I got Brittany to come out, and then we started, like, trying to pull out the window. Wasn't working, so I was like, okay, let's just go inside, get my license. The woman that was testing me said it was gonna be 5 minutes or so. I should have known it wasn't gonna be 5 minutes. It was like 15 to 20 minutes I had to wait. I finally get up to the counter, and the entire time we were waiting for the counter, I was like, the car's gonna be soaked, the seat's wet, everything's gonna break. Like, I was like, the car is shit. We finally get out, I get my G or whatever. The chair is soaked, and then so was the thing, so I, like, wiped off the window a bit, and I was like, Brittany, we need to go to Tim Hortons, get some shelter. Finally, Brittany and I get to Tim Hortons. We fix the window, and everything's good, and we come back to Toronto, and I drop her off at work. I'm literally, like, getting anxiety just thinking about this whole entire story. Ugh. That was the entirety of my G test. It was a little stressful. I mean, everything that could have went wrong could have possibly went wrong. Not really. I guess I could have crashed the car and killed us. That probably would have been worse. Anyways, guys, let me know your guys' experience if you've done your G test or your G2. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. And remember, guys, at the end of the day, there's always a reason to smile. Bye, guys.